welcome to a new video on the channel. Today we are wrapping up the month of August in my reading journal. It's one of my favourite videos to share every month, and even if it takes me a little bit longer sometimes to get it up on the channel, I really like the opportunity to share with you how I wrap up each month after filling in all the information or adding in the information now in this process. So we're starting out on the Days Read Pixel, and this is a really good place to start because it is essentially a snapshot of my reading habits. I absolutely love this page. If you have watched these videos before, you know I say this almost every single time. I really enjoy seeing the trends that are forming, and as you can see with the left-hand grid, which is my Days Read Pixel, on the right is the days that I finish a book. That's why it looks a lot spottier. But on the left-hand side, the first few months were a lot more blue. That represents one book on the key above. And you can see on the last couple of months, there's been a really big creep up with the red and also the gold colours that represent I'm reading a lot more. And that is pretty evident with the amount of books that I'm now reading, because yet again in August, I finished a total of 15 books. So I really enjoy the snapshot aspect of this page. It actually offers a lot of information to me, and I really enjoy filling it in. It's really quite satisfying seeing every month this way and also every day represented in a little tiny pixel graph. So if you're new to journaling or you want to set up a reading journal, I highly recommend adding this to your lineup because it is really good information and it's visually appealing to look at as well. So now that we've finished this page, we're going to flip over into a couple of other challenges that I've still got left open. I am almost done with my reading bingo, which is so exciting. I only have to read 3 graphic novels, which thankfully I already own them. I just have to take the time to read them really. And we're now onto the monthly theme page. And if you're new here, last year I took you to 12 different fantasy destinations, and they are now being represented in a reference type monthly theme. So for the month of August, I had the theme of portals, and of course I had to use Howl's Moving Castle's door to represent this. I am definitely more of a reader that leans towards the whimsy, cozy reads, so I really enjoy being able to throw any aspect in there that I can from that type of vibe, and Howl's to me is definitely a whimsical read. On the right-hand side, I am finally adding in the last 3 books of the book club for 2025. I co-host a book club with my friend Millie called To Whatever End, and as a group we've decided on our last 3 reads for the year, and all 3 of them were the ones that I picked, so I'm really excited for all of them, especially returning to Tales. That was my favourite book last year, Tales 1, Tales of a Monstrous Heart. So very excited to return to that world. Now we're going to go into the August pages, and there was not really a lot of information I had to add here. I had done most of the filling in throughout the month, thankfully, but I did need to add on Howl's Moving Castle here. I did do it as a reread over August for the reason of needing a book that was not my usual audience. So being a middle grade book, I was able to use that, and also I got to reread it before picking up Emily Wilde number 2, which if you're new here, my favourite series is Emily Wilde by Heather Fawcett, and I'm doing a 3-month-long buddy read for the whole series with some wonderful people over on Instagram. Last month we read book 1, and I accidentally used book 3's cover in last month's wrap-up, so that's why I flipped back a month and filled that in just now by using the right cover for the sticker, and now we're going to add this month's sticker in for the book, the buddy read, and the corresponding stickers for every other cover on my reading log. I really enjoy filling this in. It is so satisfying to watch it back when you get to this point in the wrap-up. A lot of work has gone into the month, and now I get to finish the pages off with some stickers. The covers really add a lot to the reading log, and I know that I don't need to use my little format stickers because I already have a section that says format, but I just love that they are a very quick visual guide and help me a lot when I'm doing wrap-ups in other forms like the quarterly wrap-ups if I needed information, or if I'm just doing digital information from Instagram. I can quickly look at this page and see at a glance what everything is. So really love how the reading log is looking. I kind of want to change it up in 2026 though, because I've done this same layout now for 2.5 years, and I am a Gemini. I do really like to change things up because otherwise I'll get bored, but that is something I need to figure out, not in this video. Now that the covers are on, like I mentioned, I'm going to stick those little format stickers on, and I did mention that I was going to do a tutorial on how I made these stickers through Canva and then Cricut. So if you have a Cricut cutting machine, that tutorial should hopefully come soon. I have recently swapped to using a different video software, and it has come with a bit of a learning curve. So that has slowed down some of my my editing process, as well as getting videos out on time. That is why this one's a little bit delayed. So it will be coming. I'm just not sure when. And I know that there's been quite a few people that have really wanted to know how I made these on Canva so they can then transfer it into their cutting machine use, because I only have a Cricut. I don't have like a Cameo or the other types that there are. There's quite a few now, isn't there? So definitely will be showing the whole process. I'm just not sure when that video will come. So I won't promise it for a certain day, but hopefully very soon. And now we're over into the reading data journal. So on the series tracker portion for the month of August, it was really interesting to me because I ended up adding quite a lot of series. I added 5 in total, though one was actually one I had started without realizing it was a series. So that does actually get completely tracked off today with the red complete border as well next to the boxes. So that is The Diamonds by Amelie Howard. I thought the first book in that series was just a standalone, but there was a second book recently released. I've read it. I enjoyed it. It was one of the higher read books of August, and now it's finished. But otherwise, my intentional goal of trying to continue series or finish series didn't go as planned. I am a little bit frustrated that I keep reading new series, but August was interesting to me as a month of reading because I am quite behind in my arcs. I am an arc reader, and that is kind of a shame because I've had some less than ideal arcs recently, and my worst read of the year is actually an arc, and it was in this month. Funnily enough, my best read of the year was the first book next to it. So The Night and the Moth, you would have seen it in the reading log, and then right next to it was the worst reading book of the year. So that was kind of interesting, but because of that, I've been reading a lot more, been a bit more of a mood reader in other places, so that has led to starting new series instead of completing the ones that I have going. So now that that is all filled in that portion, we're into the 2025 section of this journal. And if you're new here, I keep saying if you're new here, sorry. But if you haven't seen these videos, I have 2 journals. One is my main reading journal, which is the first one we were in. And then this is a reading data journal, which I want to last until, I hope it will last until the end of 2027. I would love to get to 2028 in it, but we will see. And it hosts in the first portion a global section, which I hope would run from 2025 to 2027, have enough space for that. And then I have a 2025 section, which we're in right now. And this page here is called The Year at a Glance. It is not very functional, I will admit that. It is simply like a future log. If you've done bullet journaling before, you have a calendar, you have space to put in the information where you're going to color coordinate on the calendar. And I have used this for the last 2.5 years, I think. And I really love it, even though it has no function. Essentially, I write down the title of every book that I read in that month, and I use my star rating to color code on the calendar. So for example, I finished Arcana Academy on the 9th, but I also finished Growing Memories on the 9th, so I couldn't put that down because there's not enough space to do both. But otherwise, every other book should end up on the calendar color-coded with their date that they were finished and the star rating. It is really a good visual, and for people who perhaps don't have as many trackers as I, might find this more beneficial than I do, but it just feels like It's a staple to me. I don't necessarily need it, but I just like having it. It's kind of like a soft launch into what 2025 is in the stats section, because we're about to get really stats heavy up in here. I have multiple pages, and if you have been watching for a long time, you know that some of them are working and some of them aren't. So now that that is done, we're going to flip over, and I actually forgot to add Howl's Moving Castle to my reads list. So I've done that off camera now, but I did also reread book 2 in the Emily Wilde series for my buddy read. And on the right hand side here, we have the books by ratings, and that is essentially a repetitive page in some aspects, because I use the star ratings in so many different ways, obviously just on that glance page, and also on a page that we didn't really look at in the other journal for my bookshelf. I am definitely changing that next year. But I do like having these rating sections and these little trackers here that go over the next 4 pages. So the first one is this one, this books by ratings. And I really like it because it helps me very quickly see what I'm reading the most of. Now, for you guys, it's probably a little bit harder to see because the pink and the red, not that deep red, but the light red that I've been using, it's like an orangey red, are very close. I had some complaints about that in the start of the year, and I do agree with you. On camera, they are very close, but I've actually read the most books out of all the ratings have been 5 stars, which is very unusual for me. That's not at all usually the case. So it's been a good year, but you can see it a little bit easier on these next pages. So on the books by genres page, we're not going to get into too much about that one. It hasn't really been working out as well as I would hope it would. I'm going to fix it next year, hopefully. But the books by format is very easy to use. I love this page. It is obvious that I read a lot of ebooks, being an ARC reader, and also a lot of audiobooks because I can read them while I'm doing things around the house or on the farm. And I really gravitate towards audiobooks, especially when I'm tired, because I don't have to hold something. I do have chronic fatigue, so being able to listen to something is actually easier for me. I've really grown accustomed to listening to audiobooks, and it is probably my preferred choice of reading these days, which is kind of weird, but I'm happy with using audiobooks to read as much as I can each year. And now we're on to my favorite of the 4, and it's books by length, because I don't have any other tracker like this, or my brain doesn't really take in the information apart from on this page of how much I read between 300 and 500 pages. That is my sweet spot. Naturally, I will grab those books more than I would a 900-page book, but it's just been really good information to have. I've never tracked it before, and I never really paid enough attention. So this is by far the best of the 4 of those trackers. And I will definitely be using some form of this next year because I absolutely love it. On to my reading goals. I am about to mark off that I have completed 20 diverse reads. I'm really happy about that. However, I am still really behind in a lot of these goals. And I did think to myself, have I read enough of the books in physical form to check off read 24 physical books? And even if I did grab the physical copies that I've read in mixed form, because I like to do a lot of immersive reading, so I'll listen to the audiobook while I'm reading the physical, I still don't have enough. So I quickly changed to filling in my social media information, and then we've swapped on to the next page, which is the stats omnibus. And I really love this page. A lot of you do as well. Definitely will be returning next year. But I did see someone recently on Instagram, and I feel so bad because I cannot reference them. And if I remember or find them again, I will definitely add it somewhere in the description. But they used a color per month on their tracking system. They don't have the same sort of layout as this, but one thing about this page that I've loved is having all the information in one spot that I can just go to whenever I need anything. But I have ever so slightly changed my handwriting each month. And I know that sounds very nitpicky, but I've used the same pen to try and keep it cohesive, but because the change keeps happening, I'm wondering if I can trick my brain by using a different color pen each month. It won't look the same, so therefore I can have those very slight changes to my handwriting because I am a true Gemini, and I do change my tune quite a lot. So sometimes I will have my writing be slanted, sometimes it will be upright. It just depends on my mood, and trying to keep up with that and be cohesive has been a little bit of a challenge. I am a bit of a perfectionist, so I'm going to try and change that out. I thought it was really clever to use a different color so it sort of detracts the eye from seeing those inconsistencies. We're now on to the final section of this video, and that is just doing the monthly August stats page. I really like having these individual pages later into the stats section. These used to be in my main journal each month, but having them all in here made more sense for the year of 2025 and onward. And I am so grateful that they're here, and I find them very boring to look at naturally because there's nothing on them except for stats and the covers at the bottom, but they are so helpful, so I won't give them up. The only issue is I am a little bit concerned because I've done the same headers every single month using the same stamp, using the same ink, and putting them in the same spot along this this spine, or the, what am I trying to say? The left-hand side of the page. And I'm a bit nervous about the burr months because obviously September is one of the longest month headers, so I'm a bit worried it won't fit up there, but we'll have to give that a little bit of a mock-up and see if we can get that sorted. But that is a next month problem, not right now. This month is the red color, so I've alternated each stats page for the quarter. So there's the gold, then there's the red, and then I think the brown is, I used brown for the last one. So we're on to red, and I unfortunately lost my white gel pen. I'm not sure where I've put it. I know I've got multiple. I just haven't really searched deep enough. So I just grabbed my acrylic marker and did the headers that way, and it worked really well. So now we're into that really big portion of me sharing the stats for the month. So I'm going to be really transparent. I have not got the book open beside me, so I'm going to just ramble a little bit longer until we fill in that information so I can talk about it as it gets put down. But I can tell you that I read 15 books, and that equates to 5,955 pages. My average then equaled out to 3.8 because of the 2 lower read books in the month. I had a 2 and a 2.5 read. And I listened to 48 hours of audiobooks. I had 6 ARCs. I didn't DNF anything. I brought 4 books. I utilized the library for 6 hires. 12 books were part of a series. 3 were standalones. I participated in 1 readathon. I also participated in 1 book club read. I had 2 buddy reads, and I had my 2 rereads. I didn't DNF or sample anything for the month. Sampled means a book that's under 10%, like I didn't put enough effort in to even be able to say I DNF'd it. So that was really good. That's a second month in a row that I haven't had to deal with any DNFs, which is fantastic. Spoiler alert, there's going to be a few in September. But as it goes for most of this month, it's been a really good read. So I had 3 5-star reads, 2 4.5 stars, 3 4 stars, 4 3.5 stars, and then I had 1 3-star, 1 2.5 star, and 1 2-star. I like to track my social media here just for personal information, so I don't really get into the nitty-gritty about how much I posted and telling you over the voiceover, just because that's information for myself. I am very aware that I'm struggling to balance between Instagram and YouTube right now because of my chronic fatigue. It has been kind of hard to navigate because it's a new diagnosis to me. So I'm trying to build things up in one area, and then I focus there too hard, and then I don't have the energy to put it in another area. So do bear with me. I'm hopeful that this balance will come now that I'm understanding myself a bit better and where I can put my limits into place. For genres, I did read majority of fantasy. That is no secret that I have always favoured fantasy, and especially in the last couple of years. Romance has been letting me down a lot, but I did read a total of 5 romance books. 3 were just contemporary romance and 2 were historical. And then I had 10 fantasy reads, 6 being just normal fantasy and 4 being more likely a romantasy based genre that I could put down. I'm really struggling with breaking down fantasy, so I think I won't next year. And then for acquired, a lot of the books come from the usual places. I used Audible. I had a couple from the authors, some from the library, some from NetGalley. And then the ones with the stars beside them is because I own a copy of The Night and the Moth, and then I use Spotify to listen to the audiobook. That is why I put the stars there, because I kind of represented that, and then the number doesn't add up correctly. This is where we have a little bit of an issue. I put this down twice. But it doesn't fit. So I don't know why I put it down the second time. I end up having to cut it up. And unfortunately, because I put it down a second time, the stickiness did adhere to the page. And I do end up ripping the page a little bit. And so to try and combat that, I came from the other end, ripped this book into 3. I felt so bad because it's one of my friends who wrote that book. And I was like, oh no, I know she doesn't watch these videos, but I felt so bad if she ever had to see me rip the cover. But it was just too late into the night for me to print out yet another one. It pressed down back into the book really nicely. You can barely tell that I ripped it. And then I just stacked them like this. God help me if I read any more than 15 books a month though, because I don't know how I'm going to fit them on this page. And definitely for 2026, I'm going to have to change how I do this, whether I make the book smaller or change out the layout. I, again, will have to play around with that, mock it up a little bit and see what I'm going to do for that. But that is a few months away, although the fact that we're already wrapping up the end of August and moving into September, it's crazy to me. So I can't believe that we're already this far into the year and that we're already at the flip through of this video. So this is just flipping through the 2025 portion of my reading data journal. I really love being able to see the progress and just flipping through and see all the efforts that I've put in for the month. It's just so nice to see all this information coming together. And then we're going to put this one aside and go back to the main reading journal, just looking at those August pages. And I am so glad that you've taken the time to spend your special time with me. I am so rambly. This is my 6th time doing a voiceover for this video. I've had some issues with the voiceover, so hopefully I've fixed it. Fingers crossed. And until we next meet, I hope you have fun reading or journaling, and I will see you in another video hopefully very soon. Bye everyone, and take care.